Good morning, sir. This is my report about residues of insecticide and environmental alteration of insecticide residues. So, introduction. When crops are treated with pesticides, very small amounts may remain in or on the crop after harvesting or storage. In order to determine any pesticide residues present in foodstuffs, analytical methods capable of accurately measuring extremely small amounts of pesticides are required. Gas chromatography is the most used equipment in pesticide analysis. Others include high performance of liquid chromatography or HPLC. Pesticide residues. Any substance or mixture of substances in food for man or animals resulting from the use of a pesticide, including any specified derivatives such as degradation and conversion products, metabolites, reaction products, and impurities considered to be of toxicological significance. So, ang kining residues, mo ni siya ang kanang mga salin-salin. Pesticide residues is salin-salin ng mga chemicals. What are the causes of pesticide residues? Persistent nature of pesticides, contamination of water and soil, direct application of pesticide during storage, improper dosage and timings of pesticides application. Do pesticides residues degrade? Most pesticides break down with exposure to the weather elements. Soil and environment also reduces or eliminates residues. In the process of cleaning, peeling, and cooking of vegetables, fruits, and food, grains, most pesticide residues are removed and broken up. What are residues and why do they turn up in our food? Pesticides may be used in a variety of different ways during the production of food. Used by farmers to control the growth of weeds or prevent crop damage by insect, rodents, and molds. Use of food crops after harvest to prolong their storage life. Use on animal farms to control insect pests. Residues can arise from the use on a crop of legally allowed pesticides according to good agriculture practice. Leave smallest and acceptable amount of residues. Overuse of a pesticide or use too close to harvest of a legally permitted pesticides. Illegal use of pesticides that is not approved for that crop. Incorrect use of pesticides after harvest to reduce pest infestation in storage or in transit. Pesticide residues may be present in fresh or thin fruit and vegetables. Processed food and drinks made from the crop, example, juice, bread, or any others manufactured food or drinks. Fresh or processed animals products if the animals have been fed on crop treated with pesticides. How do insecticides residues affect human body? Example of acute health effects include stinging eyes, rashes, blisters, blindness, nausea, dizziness, diarrhea, and death. How are pesticide residues on imported produce regulated? Imported produces tested for pesticide residues on a random basis. When a shipment is found to contain illegal residue, all new shipments after that required to be fully analyzed and certified by approved laboratories for MRLS. Countries whose produces are found to have excess pesticide residual often have increased random inspection and testing beyond the normal. Maximum residue levels or MRLS. MRL is the highest level of a pesticide residue that is legally tolerated in or on food or feed when pesticides are applied correctly. Good agricultural practice. MRL covers the safety of all consumer, example children to adults. The maximum residues levels information is provided by the chemical produced during chemical registration. Is there a health risk if residues in food are greater than MRL? The MRL is not a health-based exposure limit. Exposure to residues in excess of an MRL does not necessarily imply a risk to health. MRL is not itself a safety level and is always set at levels well below those which would cause potential risk. Advantages of residues of insecticide. Number 1, the insecticides undergo change in the plant to produce metabolites with high inhibitory activity. Number 2, insecticidal residues in food crops can be analyzed rapidly. Last, least cleanup of extracts is needed. This advantage, it's limited to organophosphate and carbamate compounds only. Environmental alteration of insecticide residues. Environmental impact. The environmental impact of pesticides consists of the effect of pesticides on non-target species. Over 98% of sprayed insecticides and 95% of herbicides reach a destination other than target species because they are sprayed or spread across entire agricultural fields. Runoff can carry pesticides into aquatic environment while wind can carry them to other fields, grazing areas, human settlement, and undeveloped areas, potentially affecting other. Water solubility. Ability to dissolve in water, usually expressed in milligram or liters parts per million. Low solubility is less than 50. Intermediate solubility 50 minus 500. High solubility is greater than 500. Determines the tendency for pesticides to move or transfer from the water to air, soil, and organism. Tendency to move into soil. Sorption stickiness is the term to describe the association of pesticides with soil and sediment. Soil sorption is highly dependent of the soil type and particularly soil organic content. Generally, soils higher in clay and organic matter have a higher sorption of capacity. Actual measurement of pesticides movement through soil and into groundwater requires expensive field work, so estimates of transport potential are often made. Factors influencing pesticide transport. Organic carbon, water partition coefficients or KOC. Organic matter is only a fraction of soil. More OC makes soil retain pesticides. Organic matter content decrease with depth, soil and sediment density and porosity. Preferential flow paths and depth to water table. Reaction in sunlight. Pesticides absorb light and are directly transformed by the energy from the sun that breaks the pesticide's chemical bonds. Many pesticides do not directly absorb sunlight but are transformed by the oxidizers formed by sunlight. Reaction with water. Breakdown due to reaction water is important for many pesticides. Changes in chemical structure impact the environmental behavior of pesticides degradation products. Degradation products are often more soluble in water, which translates to mobility in soil and sediment, runoff or leaching to groundwater. Chlorpyrifos Dorsban reaction with water. Mao na nga formula ang gamiton sa tubig. Describing rates of pesticides breakdown. Half-life is used to describe the time it takes for pesticides breakdown to occur. Definition of half-life, the amount of time it takes the pesticide to decay to half its original concentration. Database indicates if half-life values DT50 soil are determined from lab or field studies. Aerobic. Pesticide dissipation half-life. 90-day half-life red box. So kanang pula nga box mo na siya ang half-life, 90-day half-life. Half-life is constant and does not change. Used to predict the amount that will remain. Always true no matter how much present. Pesticide dissipation environment. How fast and which pathway predominates depends on chemical properties and environmental conditions. All possible contributions help decrease pesticide concentrations. So diri sa amount makita nato nga una ang volatile loss, photodegradation, plant uptake metabolism, chemical degradation, microbial degradation, leaching, runoff. So there is a pesticide fate process na po diri ang gikan siya sa wash off, then moadto din siya sa wind erosion. That's all. Thank you and God bless everyone.